Okay, so this one here, yeah. Prohibition against killing. Ananda, if living beings in the six worlds of existence cease to kill, they will not be subject to the continual round of birth and death. See him. Your practice of samadhi should free you from defilements. If your murderous mind is not cut off, it cannot be eliminated. You may acquire much wisdom, but if you fail to stop killing, when dhyana manifests, you will fall into the way of spirit, in which the high rank is attended by the mighty ghost, the middle one by flying jaksha and cheap ghost, and the low one by earthbound rakshas. These have followers and boys that they attain the supreme path. After nirvana in the Dhamma and the age, these ghosts will be found throughout the world and will boast of how they feed on flesh to teach them to realize Buddhi. Ananda permit the Bhikshu to eat only 5 kinds of pure flesh, were the products of my transcendental power of transformation, and not of the animal slaughter. You, Brahman, live in a country where vegetables do not grow because it is too damp and hot, and because of all the gravel and rock. I use my spiritual power of compassion to provide you with illusory meat to satisfy your appetites. How then, after my nirvana, can you eat the flesh of living beings? So pretend to be my discipline, my disciple. You should know that those who eat meat to their minds may open and realize a semblance of samadhi, are but great Rasha who, after this life, will sink back into the beaten ocean of samsara and cannot be my disciple. They will kill and devour one another ceaselessly. How then can they escape from the 3 worlds of existence? Well, it's pretty scary, right? Have you read
Yeah,
this before?
no.
Yeah, I read so many times about this passage. So the highest one is the mighty ghost. The middle one is the flying yaksha. You know yaksha, right?
Hmm.
Yaksha, the eaten flesh of the children. And the
Yes.
is by earthbound raksha. So, but let's say for common people, if they come across to this para, when the Buddha say that the flesh of animals during the Buddha times were his uh, transcendental power of transformation. What do you think? Will they believe that, or do they believe that? What do you think?
Well, what are the 5 kinds of pure flesh?
Uh, here, do not see, hear, doubt. The animal being killed purposely for him to eat. Reason that either die naturally or that its flesh have been abandoned by birth or afraid.
Okay.
Actually, that the tree in both tradition, the Mahayana and the Raja tradition, this important for the monk, especially for the Raja monk, they don't hear the sound of the animal that's been slaughtered, don't see, and they don't have any doubt, or they don't order, or they don't have any doubt. Basically, they can eat the dead animals and that's been disposed in the forest or somewhere else.
Hmm.
But there's no way. There's no way, right? No way for I don't know in the past, but there's no way for monks to eat those type of dead crops or dead animal.
It's dangerous. They have to be found right after they die. or else the toxins, there can be heat stable toxins that even if you cook it, it can still make someone really sick.
Yeah, and also yeah, looking at the way that the Tarara monks receive the offerings, especially the meat offerings from the lay people, most of the time they kill, right? Especially in Southeast Asia countries like Thailand, Burma, and so forth. Over there, they don't have this kind of what they call meat industry, right? They don't they kill by hands directly, and of course the monk would not see how they kill, right? But the Malay people they offer whichever thing they have. That's the way that they operate, the way that they kill animals by themselves.
What if someone living here, reads this and thinks, okay, well, I didn't see or hear the animal being killed. I didn't order it to be killed. It wasn't killed specifically for me. It's going to be killed anyways,
Mhm.
like, because of the meat industry.
Yeah,
Uh, I mean, that's an interesting one because in a way, it would be if I were eating meat, then in a way it is being killed for me because the store keeps track of how much that's purchased
mm,
and they're going to make their order based on how much is being regularly purchased, and then that's going to trickle up to, but even though it's not specifically for us, but
yeah. The demand and supply, right? There's demand, there used to be supply, and then so when I read this kind of sentence, they say that because of they are the product of my transcendental power of transformation. So I'm thinking about the fake meat, what they
Mhm.
call the fake meat, right? What they call
Yeah,
the
like there's beyond meat, there's impossible meat, there's meaty, yeah, all
Mm.
sorts of different ones.
Yeah. So have you tried before?
Oh yeah, yeah, I do. One of my favorites right now is made out of the mycelium of mushrooms.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really easy to cook. It has a ton of protein in it, and it tastes fine.
The test is same.
Not the same, not the same, but it tastes fine. Like it's not. It's I can eat it without a problem, and I don't have to do much seasoning to it.
So I used to tell the lay people, well, that's for beginners. The one that's so attached to the meat, that's okay. That's just the transitional period for them, right? Because
Mhm.
you're consuming meat, so there's no way for them to skip right away. So eating the fake meat is one of the transitional way, right? To become pure vegetarian, right?
What
Um,
what I like about this type is not that it's imitating meat, but that it has a lot of protein and it's easy to cook
okay.
and it's easy to digest. It's got a bunch of really valuable nutrients in it. So I feel okay about it because the stuff that tastes too much like meat, I don't like. Like the stuff like impossible meat, it's
Mhm.
too much like actual turkey, and I just don't like the flavor. So
About uh how about the price? Is it similar or more expensive?
it's pretty close, I think, because it's probably a little more expensive. Yeah, unless you were getting like organic, unless it was compared to organic meat. Yeah, it's probably a little more expensive.
Mm, okay. So if it's more expensive, so for common people, they would not dare to pick up, right? They would not like to buy, right? Because more expensive. But for yeah, for the one like you, right? You can afford to you have the yeah, it's affordable for you to buy. But
Mhm.
for the normal common people, they have a choice to which one is cheaper, and it's also the real one tastes good, real too, right? Uh,
Oh yeah, yeah, it's cheaper to eat the
that
real stuff.
so what do you think? What do you think about this message that for definitely for the Theravada monk, they would not like to read this kind of passage, right? I remember that I read an article to talk about, Ajahn, Ajahn, the Thai monk, the one that developed the forest tradition in Thailand. Ajahn.
I've heard you refer to him
Mhm.
one or two times before.
A very famous one. But I read one article is when he passed away. So because so many people, especially in Thailand, so many people respect him and honor him. So more than 10,000 people came to his funeral service. And what happened then? They kill cow, chicken, and so forth to feed
Oh,
those people.
wow. Yeah.
Mm, yeah. So again, according to the law of karma, right? Whichever thing you do, it get back to you. That's all. Whether you do it direct or indirect ways. So yeah, definitely it's not easy. Mm, not easy to accept, especially for them. This one is so obvious, right? Um, so what do you think about those arhat during the Buddha times? What do you think? They still went out to beg for food? Definitely, most of them were meat, right? Uh, the animal products. So, but they still attend nirvana. They still become arhat. Then, is there any conflict? What do you think with this passage here? What do you think?
The the intention is important because
Mm,
the Buddha's rule here is that there's no desire on the part of the individual to eat meat
mhm,
and or to be involved in the death of an animal, so that the only way that they can eat it is if they know that they have no doubt that they weren't involved in its death.
mm,
Um, so you could see a layperson if they thought a monk might like meat, they might kill another animal or to give it to them. So they'd have to stay vigilant about that, and they'd have to not show any pleasure at receiving meat, or appear excited or especially grateful for it.
mm. Yeah. Um, in Chinese and Vietnamese Buddhist traditions, they one story that relate to what you call a crazy monk, but he's a holy monk. He like to drink alcohol. He like to eat meat, but whichever animals that he consume, he will spill out them lightly. For example, if you consume chicken, right, chicken meat, so he spill out a live chicken, a live bird, so like that type of movie. Uh,
Yeah,
it's, of course, it's pretty rare. Also only for holy monks, but not for the common people.
I remember a Tibetan story. Who was it? I get the names mixed up, but the disciple was seeking for his master and was told he'd find his master in this certain city. And then when he got there and was asked, I think it's Talopa. But when he got there and he was asking around for him, they pointed to this guy who's sitting on this heap of rubble, and he has a bucket filled with fish, and he's snapping his fingers and like biting the heads off these fish. And I think he was eating onions too. But he ended up being this a Buddhist master. And he's the explanation is when he's snapping his fingers, he's transmitting the consciousness of these fish to the land of ultimate bliss.
Mm,
Um, that one really stuck in my head because that's a potent image. If you're looking for a master and you come across this, like he was a dirty guy who looked like just an impoverished, vagabond who was kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, 1988, 1998, 1999, I went to India. I spent 10 months over there. Um, uh, 1 month at the Bodh Gaya. The other 9 months, I spent my times to live amongst the Tibetan people in Dharamsala. You heard of Dharamsala, right? So for them, eating meat is normal for everyone, monks, lay people, and so forth. Because the way they explain is that in Tibet, it's just too cold to plant any vegetables, so they have no choice to eat meat, to eat the what they call yak. You know yak, right? A type of special cow anyway, because too cold for them to plant vegetable. It's understandable. But when they come down to Dharamsala or the warm area, it's plenty of land for them to do cultivation. But even some high master, high Tibetan master, they say it's just a habit. They cannot get out that, and they say that animal without meat is not delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that too. Back in, I think it must have been high school. There's a Tibetan center around here,
Mm.
and there were some visiting monks from somewhere else traveling around, Tibetan monks, and they were being hosted by a particular family, and the host knew that the monks wanted steaks.
Hmm.
And so she had her son go purchase them and cook the steaks for them because she wasn't going to cook them because she was vegetarian.
Mm.
But the monks let it be known that they liked it.
Mhm.
So it was weird for me. I didn't end up really being involved with them. I didn't know they were going to do that.
Yeah.
That's kind of wild because you have normal people who are vegetarians who aren't monks. Like there's someone who hasn't taken on the sort of commitment that a monk is taking on. Like I feel like the vegetarian part is like to me, one of the easiest precepts.
Mhm. But in our culture, not easy. We get used of that. Yeah, that's why you know when I live among them. So sometimes I visit the Ben's monastery or temple. It smells terribly whenever I step into the temple
Mm,
because they cook meat in the kitchen. So I somehow so many years I been pure vegetarian, so I can at that time I could not handle the smell. Mm. Yeah. Anyway, so again, the Buddha here say in the way of the karma, right? We consume more, we pay more, right? Well, anyway, all right. So let's move on to here. Yeah, please.
In addition, you should teach worldly men who practice samadhi not to kill. This is called the Buddha's profound teaching of the second decisive deed. Therefore, Ananda, if killing is not stopped, the practice of jhana samadhi is like shutting one's ears while crying in the hope that people will not hear one's voice, or like trying to hide something that is already exposed to full view. All bhikshus who live purely and all bodhisattvas always refrain even from walking on the grass. How can they agree to uproot it? How can those who practice great compassion feed on the flesh and blood of living beings? If bhikshus do not wear garments made of silk, boots of local leather and furs, and refrain from consuming milk, cream, and butter, they will really be liberated from the worldly. After paying their former debts, they will not transmigrate in the three realms of existence. Why? Because by using animal products, one creates causes which are followed by effects. Just like a man who eats cereal grown in the soil and whose feet cannot leave the ground. If a man can control his body and mind, and thereby refrains from eating animal flesh and wearing animal products, I say he will really be liberated. This teaching of mine is that of the Buddha, whereas any other is that of evil demons.
Hmm.
Yeah, this I find so I've always wondered if the Buddha commented directly on like dairy products.
Mhm.
So it's cool. It's good to read that there. Um, and the leather part I assumed because it involves killing animals, and I knew about the silk. But I regularly see. I think of really of Tibetan monks that I've seen it most commonly, but it seems widely accepted to wear leather shoes, even
Mm.
amongst Buddhist practitioners, perhaps even sincere ones. And historically, it's been really hard to avoid if you need dress shoes. But there are some vegan brands now. There are like shoes made out of mushrooms and that are like good, good quality and of other things. So it's a little more practical to avoid now. And this makes me think I should decrease my butter consumption. I do eat a good amount of butter.
Mm.
Butter on like wheat toast. I really like that. And I can decrease it. I can use olive oil.
Yeah. Oh, he doesn't mention about egg, huh? Probably is included too, right? It,
Mention what? Eggs? Oh yeah. I would assume eggs would kind of match with milk.
Mhm. Yeah. Anyway, so probably may use this passage to pass along, right? If someone really like to remain pure vegetarian, right? We stay away from those animal products.
Mhm.
But of course, for me, it's better not to kill and consume the flesh of animals. Um, for the animal product is somehow it's understandable for lay people, right? Of course, at my temple, there's no way for us to have eggs, but because we have some children here, so they drink sometimes they drink milk. That's for them, yeah, not for us. Mm. So mm, and probably you know, right? Especially in the Mahayana Buddhist tradition, right? If the lay people fight the monks and nuns consuming meat, this is purely grave offense, right? You know about that?
In the Mahayana
In
tradition.
my temple, in most of the Vietnamese Mahayana Buddhist center, if the lay people know the monks and nuns consume meat, that's pure serious matter, right? But not for the Theravada monks. So I remember that there's some Theravada monks. Of course, they still consume animal product. So at first, when when we first came to this country and not many temple around yet, so some monk travel around to give the teaching. One particular monk, he passed away already, but he's still a good monk. But somehow he followed the right traditions, and he still consume, phở, right? Vietnamese
Fowl, chicken and turkey and
chicken, not the turkey, but beef and bacon. So some lay people they criticize him, but of course he followed the other monk, so he had the right to consume them. But no matter what, the lay people would not accept that. It's still great concern for them. Anyway, so uh, it's been many years that I get used of consuming pure vegetarians. Sometimes I have to visit the lay people house. Whenever I walk into the lay people house, especially the smell of the animal, right? It's not easy for me to handle. Yeah.
Mm,
That's why I told you that when you walk into the Tibetan temple, it's so terrible smell with all animals flesh and smell in them. Okay.
yeah.
Anyway, it's just pretty easy. We talk about borrowing. I mean that we borrow the flesh of sentient beings, animal beings, and they don't have to pay back. Um, you know the story of the Sid Patriarch when he's still high among the hunters. You heard about that story, right?
Yes. You would free the animals from the traps when, no one was looking.
Yeah, and also when they cook vegetables with the meat, so you can pick up the vegetable to consume, not the meat.
Yes.
For him, he didn't have any um, intention to consume, but that's just the choice. And sometimes the lay people ask me what happened if they go to attend wedding ceremony, wedding celebration, or any special celebration, a ceremony, a party. What happened? There's no vegetarian meal. Of course, the least you can do is that just pick up the vegetable, a salad to consume. But most of the time, most time out of respect, and I heard that especially in the big party like wedding party, they will have some table. They reserve some table for vegetarian people nowadays. Okay, so let's move on then. Hmm. Prohibition against stealing. Further, Ananda, if living beings in the six worlds of existence cease to steal, they will not be subject to the continual round of birth and death. Um, okay. Your practice of samadhi should free from defilement. If your robust mind is not wiped out, they cannot be eliminated. You may acquire much wisdom, but if you do not stop stealing, when dhyana manifests, you fall into the way of devils, in which the high rank is attended by cunning spirit, the intermediate one by the evil spirit, and low one by the bedeviled man. These devils have their followers and boast that they attain supreme Buddhi after my nirvana. In the Dhamma and the age, these devils will be found everywhere in the world. They will hide their perfidy, 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 horse at a man of good counsel, and declare that they have won a supreme Dharma to deceive ignorance who will thus lose their mind. Wherever they pass, they will cause untold miseries to their believers. So again, of course, if someone want to cheat, want to hack people money, want to steal other people's properties, there's no way for them to calm their mind, right? They it's understandable, right? They say that the high rank is to become a cunning spirit, right? Or evil
Mm,
spirit. Mm, like the hackers, or the scammer, right? So
yeah.
there's no way for them to attain the real enlightenment. Mm, um, it's pretty understandable. Mm. So there's many smart guy out there. I just read an article to say that there's some hacker they want the ransom. Even they hack the government's website, or they stole the court uh, documentaries documents from the courts. I don't know how can they handle that. The FBI and so forth nowadays, uh, yeah, they still smart people, but this is you do this type of harming to others. Um, mm. Okay, so let's see here. So You want to say anything more about this? What do you think? Um, about
Um,
mm,
yeah, it makes sense that the actions we take regularly, if
mm,
they're not in harmony with other beings, if they cause harm to other beings, that harm is going to come back on us.
mhm, yeah.
So makes sense.
Mm, okay. All right. Can we stop here today, please? Okay.
Oh, certainly, Ted. Yeah.
Hey. So see you next Wednesday then. Thank you.
Okay.